I want to talk about how our generation is trying to make almost everything cringy, and that is literally making people holding back from wanting to be embarrassed or wanting to be cringy. And we're making even people trying on the internet or trying to do things, we call that phase cringy. It's cringe until they become successful, right? But like they make everything so embarrassing, but like they make everything to seem like it's cringy, like, and that make people hold back themselves of being themselves or trying things just for the fear of being judged, just for the fear of being cringe called cringy, just for the fear of being embarrassed and all that. I feel like I want to try so many things in life and be myself, but people are calling me cringe and I don't know what to do. I feel like it's keeping me stuck and I'm scared to be judged. I'm scared that I'm gonna be called cringe. Okay, so I'm just gonna tell you that, like, first thing that I'm just gonna tell you is that when you're 80 years old, would you want to look back in your life and see that you've been too scared to try things just of the fear of being called cringe? And it's not really cringe if you're trying something. As long as you're trying, you're literally on the path to your dream. Especially if you're trying something that you've been wanting to do. If people want to call that cringe, that is their problem. You cannot control how people interpret the things that you do, because there's people that will always judge whether you're doing good, especially if you're doing bad. Like, people are so quick to notice when you mess up or you do bad things, but even when you're doing good or whatever you're doing, there's always somebody who's gonna be there to point things out. So are you gonna spend your whole life living the based on what people would think, like the fear of being cringe, the fear of, simply because people would call me so cringy, so like that's why I don't want to try? Or even like dancing in public, like I heard people even playing around in public, like people feel embarrassed of that because, like, oh, I'm gonna be judged. Like, I feel like just for that word cringy is being used so much that people are holding themselves back from simply being human, meaning dancing in public, doing things in public, just being human, being able to laugh and those simple human things like that. People are feel cringe, like feel like everything is cringy, and it's making you so inhuman. It's just making you out of touch with reality and holding you back. That's where nonchalance started, like people being nonchalant, or like, oh, I'm just chill, like I'm just a chill person. Or like I'm very low maintenance, and I'm not, I'm just very chill, and like that nonchalant thing. To be honest, I feel like that whole nonchalant thing is kind of fake, because I feel like everybody has a weird side to themselves, but just for the fear to be judged or called cringy, people are scared to really show up as the real self, show up as who they are, for the fear of being judged, for the fear of being called cringy. And I feel like it's something we should change. I really like to ask older people, like, what's one advice that they would give their younger self. And I also like watching those videos of older people giving advice, and most of the time they like to say, I wish I didn't care what people thought about me. I wish I lived the life that I wanted to live, and I wasn't too scared to follow after my dream. And that's one of my biggest fear, that I don't want to say when I'm old. I want to be able to live out my best life, my most authentic self, and be able to reach my goals, reach my dreams, at least be on that path. At least even if it didn't work out or it wasn't meant for me, I can say that I've tried. I've been on that path. I did the best I could, but it just didn't work out. It just wasn't for me. At least I would be sane. Becoming old and thinking like, oh my gosh, like I didn't do what I wanted to do. My dreams, I didn't go after my goals or my dreams, and that would just make me so insane. It would mess up with my mind so bad, and that's something that is pushing me to really live out the life that I want, and not live a life for other people, not live a life that, even if I feel like, okay, maybe people would think that some things that I do is cringe, or some jokes I would say, not everybody would align with my humor and things like that. At first it's like it's hard, and like if you don't start, but after, I think you get over it. Like you easily get pissed off. Like, I don't care. Like, so I got to a point where I was just mad at myself for caring so much what people would think, for caring so much of being judged. Because like, why am I holding so much? Like, why am I holding back on so much? Fear of being judged, it was so intense because of the things I've experienced in the past. And so my nervous system or my brain is trying to protect me. Do you remember what happened last time that you tried that? Do you remember? And it's kind of holding me down, and I feel like it's something I'm still working on. But even with the fear, I do so. I try as much to do things that push me out of my comfort zone, because I want to grow my comfort zone. I don't want to stay in the same place. I don't want to stay stuck. I don't want to live a life and have regrets, you know. So far, I know I'm still in my 20s, but I really don't have regrets, because I feel like, I'm not saying I had a perfect picture, sunny, yellow, beautiful life. There was ups and downs, but I feel like everything happened for a reason, and it taught me a lot of things, especially the things that went wrong. I learned so many lessons. So there's nothing that I would go back. I mean, there's nothing that I like have such an intense regret, or like I don't really have any regrets. You know, there's people that cringe, they are happier. Which example can I give you? Y'all know Yona, that girl. I love her so much because she's not scared to be herself. Like, this girl, she is just so authentic, like, and I just love that about her. So I want to add one more thing. Authentic people are very charismatic. I feel like when you learn to care less and really live your life like being you, I think that's just charisma. Yes, people like to say, okay, charisma can be learned and everything, but just being able to just be you, meaning saying what's on your mind, setting boundaries, being able to speak up when something is not right, or and saying things when you're uncomfortable, being able to also laugh, set your jokes, and do what you would do if you were alone. Do you see how you're like yourself alone or with friends? Just being able to do that freely, I feel like that has a charm in itself, or charisma in itself. Yeah, I feel like the video has been all over the place. Basically, the topic was like, maybe that's why they're happier than you. People who don't care about being cringe, who don't care about being themselves. People who would say jokes and laugh at their own joke even if the whole room is quiet, you know. I mean, like, I'm not even gonna over explain things. 5 minutes. People who just say jokes and like they don't care, and it's just like, yeah, I feel like I'm still working on it, but I think I'm at a point where I genuinely love myself. I love my jokes. I love the way I am. If I was to be born in another world or like another time, I would choose to be me again, like completely. The whole, my personality, myself, everything, I would choose to be me again. And I never thought I would be saying that, because like I've dealt with a lot of self-hatred. But anyways, last word of the video, I would just say, just be okay to be you. At least try. If you're so scared to just be yourself for the fear of being judged, well, first of all, the people that you're around, if they're friends, then they're probably not your friends if you're that scared to be yourself and you feel like they're gonna make fun of you. First of all, I would say to change your environment, and secondly, just give it a try, give it a shot. Truly, like, show up in an environment being yourself. I feel like every time I showed up as me, I've attracted more people, I guess, or made more friendships without even trying hard. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on my next video.